out what I would say to my younger self, what I would say to her in terms of just life, what I would advise her on, what I would say to her about just the world of work, career, friends, etc. The first thing I would say to my younger self is live in your true self. Just live in your true who you are, your little quirks, your little awkwardness, your little, just be you. Like, don't try and be someone else. Don't try and fit in with the crowd, because I don't think you were ever meant to fit in the crowd. You were created differently. You were created for more. You were created to stand out. You were created to just be in your own skin and enjoy that. And for too many years, you've been trying to, for too long you're trying to fit in like everyone else, because you thought that was the thing to do, but instead you should have just been stepping out in your own style. To my younger self is be confident in who you are, know yourself like nothing before. Just know yourself. That's one thing I realized, like I didn't know myself when I was younger. I just kind of like went with the ebbs and the flows of life, and like people said this, so I'd be like, okay, maybe they're right, or and I questioned myself a lot on a lot of things, because I thought people were like, no, this is not right, this is how you do it. And in my head I thought, you know, I'm young, they're older, therefore let me just listen to their sound advice. But now I look back, I'm like, I should have done the things that I wanted to do and failed if I failed at it, rather than listen to someone then after regretting and thinking maybe I should have just done what I wanted to do rather than just listen to them, because it could have turned out differently. So knowing yourself in your 20s is so important, because if you don't know yourself, you'll end up just going with stuff, joining things that is not you, but you think it's the in thing or it's the trend or people say you should do it. No, literally do not do that. You don't need to do that. Know yourself, know what your likes, your dislikes are, what hobbies you like to do, what hobbies you don't like to do, what types of friends you want, what types of relationships you want. All these things, know yourself. Like, just because I realize in this life you're constantly trying to know yourself if you don't start off early in your 20s and in your teens, because if not, you'll just end up latching onto a crowd that's not meant for you, crowds that are not for you, crowds that will diminish you, all these things. So knowing yourself will allow you to just kind of be in a place of being able to, you can set boundaries. So if you know yourself, you can set boundaries. You can be like, excuse me, I don't like that, you need to stop doing that. If not, I'm going to remove myself. Whereas if you don't know yourself, it also feeds into the factor of you end up removing boundaries for people to either use you. You end up having the people pleasing behavior, victimhood behavior, all these things I can relate to, guys. So that's why I'm saying this. Just knowing who you are. And for me, that was knowing myself in the Lord, knowing that I am loved, I am chosen, I am a royal priesthood, you know, I am a chosen generation. All these things that I have fearfully and wonderfully made by the Lord, that I'm here for a purpose, that, you know, I wasn't just, you know, my parents didn't just think, oh, let's have a child, and, well, children, because I'm a twin, just have a child, and, you know, no, it was the Lord had already planned it even before the existence of the earth. All these things are a foundation, and they hold you, because if someone tries to strip you of that and say, oh, you're not going to be anything, you can be like, no, you know, hold that word, because I don't believe that word. I was created for greatness. I was created in this world by my maker, my Lord and Savior, Jesus. You can just speak back the words and be like, no, I am a chosen, you know, chosen generation. I'm a royal priesthood. You know, I am the child of the Lord God Almighty. You can just have such a confidence. And when you have the confidence of the Lord with you, it is just immense. It is great, because it's like, who can touch me? You know, who can to try and do anything to me and actually prosper or succeed? Because it's like, I have the Lord with me, he's by my side, he's the Lord of angel armies, the Lord of hosts, you know, he has a hedge around me. And the Lord is so important, guys, knowing that your foundation is in God, not man, not human, that, you know, at the end of the day, the Lord has the ultimate say in your life. Ground yourself and knowing the Lord in the word. The next thing I would say is just cling on to the Lord. Don't ever give up on the Lord. Don't ever, you know, leave his side, because even if you try everything in the world, you'll try doing all the stuff, it still won't fulfill, because ultimately your only desire is the Lord. You only want to do what the Lord wants. And even in the years that you stray from the Lord, you miss him, you want him, you're yearning for him, you're unhappy, you're sad, you feel lost in the world, everything's harder. So that's one thing I would tell my younger self, that cling on to the Lord, hold on to the Lord and never let him go, because he was never a mistake in the first place. He was always the right option. He was always the first option and the only option. So I just encourage you, if you are a woman of faith, keep that faith, keep holding on to God, keep holding on to Jesus. Don't let, adulthood come into play and you think, I don't need the Lord. I'm doing good in life. I'm succeeding. I'm prospering. I don't need God. I can do this all by myself, and it's not true. It's not true, and it just delays you in terms of just your freedom, your healing, all these things. So I just implore you to hold on to God, never let him go, because he's always going to be the constant in your life. Everything else can be changing and swifting and changing, but the Lord is always going to be there. He's always going to be the same yesterday, today, and forever. The next thing I would definitely say is prioritizing yourself, prioritizing self-care, self-love, I guess, but just prioritize yourself, not in a conceited way, obviously, in a way of like taking care of your body, your mind, your soul, spiritually, meditation, prayer, Bible reading, all these things, taking care of that is so important, because I neglected all those things when I was younger. I just thought, it's a bit of nah, nah, nah. And I would read the Bible, so go to church once in a while and stuff, but I didn't prioritize them. It's like my source of pouring into myself, was my source of, this is the very thing that I need, in terms of just reading my Bible, going to church, etc. So make sure you prioritize you, and don't keep looking to just always giving and pouring into other people's cups, and then you are empty and no one else is there to fill your cup. So just don't keep filling other people's cups and forgetting yourself, because I did that a lot when I was younger, and it was just not great. The next thing I would say is cultivate the relationships that you've got, cultivate the friendships that you've got, because I think when I was younger, it was hard because I'm a twin. So when you're a twin, in all honesty, my mindset was, if I get friends, great, but if not, I've got my twin. It's a bad way of saying it, but that was just my mindset. And I think because of that, I didn't cultivate a lot of the relationships that I did have, in terms of friendships, like people that I should have. I'm saddened now to like not have like continued the friendships, or just held on to those friendships, because they were just lovely people. And I guess it takes a lot. And you might see my navigating grief video where hearing stuff like that, and yeah, hearing stuff like that, and then you weren't really like talking to that person, but you had such a close relationship in the period you were together, that it's very sad. And I was looking at pictures the other day of me and my friend, and it was so sad, because I had so many pictures of that year together when we did Bible college. We literally like had laughs all the time. We traveled together. We stayed in the same like homes, in terms of when we were doing conferences. We were like together all the time, and it's like, oh, I just wish I wasn't in my head at the time, because I was going through my own things. I just kind of like, yeah, and a part of me sometimes does have that guilt of like, I wish I'd stayed, in contact a bit more. But cultivate the relationships that you do have. Don't take them for granted, because sometimes you'll look back one day and think to yourself, wow, like that was a great friend, that was a great person. I should have, done a bit more just to hold on to them, and so they could be in my life, and or things could have been different if they were in my life. So cultivate the relationships that you've got. Don't think that you don't need anyone, because in this life we all need someone. People, like Joshua Solomon always says, God blesses you through people. At the end of the day, people could be around you and bless you, and that could be in friendships, that could be just in relationships, in career, etc., etc. So cultivate those relationships, hold on to them, maintain them, pray for them, etc. Next thing, career, guys. Career. Okay, the thing I learned about career in my youth is, don't stay in one place all the time. Yeah, don't. It's not worth it in this climate anymore. Back in the day, you could stay at a job for years and years, you'd get the benefits, move up the ladder. Now it is better for you to do your 3 years, get your experience, and then move on to another pay grade, especially if they don't want to pay you more money. I'm not about that no more. Like, if you don't want to pay me the money, that's good, that's fine, and I'm leaving, because someone else will probably come through the door and you might give them the pay, but you don't want to give me the pay, and that's fine. Obviously it's all relative to the experience, the company, etc. So just be mindful of that. But I think with a lot of jobs when I was younger, where I was very much a yes person, I would take the first paycheck they gave me, you know, oh, this is the monthly amount. But oh yeah, that's great, I'm just happy to be getting paid. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, I've got skills, I've got qualifications that you know, kind of want to use. Therefore, if you're not going to pay me more money, I can find my way to another job and get the same pay, or the get more money in terms of increased pay, the pay that I actually want. So don't settle in terms of jobs and careers. I've seen this too many times in jobs where they'll be like, I've told them, and they won't increase my pay, and then they still stay. You've just told them that I've asked for something multiple times, been patient, been understanding, but you're going to ignore me and continue to give me more workload, not care for me, and continue to just treat me like nothing and not give me a pay rise. You've just told them to treat you anyhow, and you don't get respect that way, unfortunately. Obviously, I will say stuff like, you pray about it, don't be just moving in the streets without obviously praying about it. But I do think in some jobs where they can be exploiting, especially young workers in your teens and your 20s, be mindful of that. And I don't also say this to say don't get your experience. Get your experience in a job. Sometimes in that job you might have to just get paid low wage, and that is fine. That is fine. Move up the ladder in terms of just stay there, get your experience, get your knowledge in that area. And that can be, at the time you don't really want that pay and it's not great, but you can manage. That's fine. Stay your 3 years, stay 4 years, stay 5 years, if you, even if it's like one, you can do a course, you can do qualifications, do all the things that you need to do to set yourself up. But I'm just talking to the people that in a way they have so much experience and they're in a job maybe that they've been in for maybe years, maybe 5 years, 6 years, and they've been saying this for years, like, can I have a pay increase? Yet the new person that's come out the fresh up off the lot, they'll give them the pay that they want straight off the bat, but you are clawing and trying to just get a pay rise. Like, it shouldn't be. That's not right. That is not right. I just say to you, stand by your word. Some companies will turn around and say, oh, don't leave, we'll give you the pay rise. It's not always a guaranteed, so don't use that as like a way of like, oh, I'll get the money that way. It's not a guarantee, but it also is a way of telling that company that you do have values, you have morals, you have your own, you know, boundaries as well, in terms of just not going to be used as a doormat. Because so many workplaces can use you as a doormat just for the sake of getting the work done, but they couldn't care less about you. So just be mindful of that, guys, especially when you're younger. Get your experience, of course, do what you need to do. But if you do feel like you've been in a place where you've added value, you've gone above and beyond, you're doing probably more than what you should be doing, but you've asked them for pay reviews and they just keep palming you off and they just basically don't want to keep the pay reviews, I would definitely say just speak up. It's nothing wrong with speaking up in a genuinely kind way, not in a aggressive way in any way. They are a company that want to obviously be like, oh no, we'll reconsider, can we navigate this? That's great. If not, that's okay. You take your bag with your Lord and you go to a new place and the Lord will provide, especially if you are praying about it and seeking the Lord on it. Don't be just thinking that, oh, I'm just being greedy. It's not being greedy. No, it's not being greedy. That's one thing I would tell myself quickly. Like, don't be used in workplaces. Don't be thinking that, you know, I'm being a pain, because you're not being a pain, you're just telling the truth. But yeah, that's one thing I'd say. And then in relationship wise, guys, just so I don't make this too long, relationally, I would say enjoy your youth, enjoy who you are, find yourself, know who you are, and then date. Because dating early, some people think that dating early is great and everything, some people it's good for them, but I definitely say date later on in life, because once you know who you are, you know what you want. Whereas if you date early, let's be honest, in your 20s, I don't know, I was 22, 23, I still didn't know who I was. 24, I still didn't know who really I was, because I didn't really start the journey until I probably was 27, 26. So if you start early, obviously knowing yourself, knowing who you are, and you truly never know yourself like fully, so don't take this as like, oh, I'll know myself fully, but knowing yourself in a capacity of knowing your boundaries, what you care for, what you actually want in a partner, what you want in a relationship, what your non-negotiables are, what you're willing to kind of compromise on. Things like that is so important to have. And when you date early, it can be skewed, because you can almost want that relationship so much that you change what you actually want. And then by the time you get into the relationship, you're almost like, oh, okay, well, I don't like things like that. I don't really want, but then you never voiced it or never said it, or you never really voiced what your opinion was. So then now it's a contention in the relationship, because you're basically two different people who are probably trying to please each other so that you could get each other. And then now it's almost like you actually didn't work that compatible. You were just kind of compromising a lot and not setting boundaries. So I do just advise that as an auntie. My auntie vibes is giving you, get into a relationship later on in life. 25, start dating. 25, just wait a little bit. 25, finish education. My sister used to say that. My big sister said to me, finish education and then you can date. And it's the best advice she ever gave me, to be fair. Like, literally, even to this day, I think to myself, thank you. Because she was like, boys are a distraction. And it's not in a bad way, but it's like when you're in a relationship, you're so engulfed with each other that everything else is almost like, get away. Like, I don't want to be an adult. I want to be with this person 24/7. And it's that honeymoon stage and you're just enjoying yourself and you do get distracted. And honestly, I don't know how some people did it with, boyfriends at uni, and some people are fine. But with my personality, I just know myself and I would have been distracted, to be fair. So it's, once again, relative to who you are, your personality, and your traits, and knowing yourself in that sense. So knowing yourself sometimes is just good in that sense of being like, I know myself. If I get this, I'll end up just not concentrating on school, or if I do this, etc. So with relationships, guys, just be aware that you know what you want in that relationship and what you're looking for. If it's marriage, make sure you confirm together. If it's children, make sure you confirm with each other, speak to each other. Mindful of that, guys. I will stop the video now just because this drilling is getting worse. So yeah, but I hope these few tips of what I would say to my teen self, my 20-year-old self, has helped you guys today, just in terms of navigating life, because life can be a lot at times. And yeah, I hope these tips can help you in some way, because it can be difficult, especially when you're young and you don't really know what to kind of be looking for or doing in terms of work, relationships,